Hey there, Lincoln County. This is Dr. Allen coming to you this week for Core Communication for April the 26th, 2024. I am joined by a guest this week. We typically don't have outsiders from Lincoln County helping us, but Stacy McAnulty, she's a local or an author that's here this week meeting with some of our elementary students. We had a lot of these books that you see in front of me that she'll talk about here in a minute. Some of those were on our Battle of the Books list for our kids this year, and so she's here this week meeting with our elementary students. So Stacy, talk to me about when you come to schools and you do these opportunities for partnering with the local library system. What is it that what is the experience you want kids to get out of this opportunity with you?
So when I typically visit schools, I'm doing a presentation for a group of students, usually a certain age range, and I take them kind of behind the scenes of my job, my family, and then usually one of my books. So today I'm going to be talking to kids about one of my novels, and they're going to learn things that they would not know necessarily by just reading the book. They're going to know where the inspiration, some of the struggles, some of the jokes that I put in there, little Easter eggs, if you will. And then I'll give them some writing tips. And at the end, we'll do some question and answer so they can pick my brain and I'll learn what they want to know.
So when you talk about writing tips, did you always want to be a writer? When you were a young person, these fourth and fifth graders that will meet you today, did you always think you wanted to do this?
Actually, I did not consider writing when I was a kid. I was very much a math and science girl, and that's kind of the path I took. Actually, my background is in engineering.
Wow.
But when I had my own children, when I became a mom, I started reading to my kids, and I fell in love with kids' books. And I'm like, I want to do this. I want to be part of this world. And I'm lucky because even though I have that math and science background, I bring a lot of that into my books. That's the cool thing about writing. It's not a narrow path. You can write about anything. You can discover so many things through writing.
So our community knows that this year and a little bit last year, but going forward we're focused a lot on career options. So we think about being an author as a career. Obviously, you're here, you're an author, but talk about what other partners you have in making these books come to print. What other jobs are out there for kids to think about? Well, maybe I don't want to write, but I like being a designer or a graphic artist. So talk about that.
Sure. Yes, I'm solely the author. That's my part of the job. So if we look at like a picture book, I am partnered with an illustrator. So someone who's going to do the art, and I do the writing first, and then they do the art for it. There's people that design covers, so I don't design any covers as well. I have something kind of technical here. I have something called an agent also, who kind of takes care of all the business side of stuff. Someone who's really good at negotiating and likes doing that, which I'm not good at. So she is wonderful at that. And then we have editors who are going to make sure that the book is in great form, that I'm not making huge mistakes. And there's editors that look at like the high level, and then there's editors that correct things like spelling and grammar. So there's different levels of editor as well. Then when a book is done, like I said, we've got marketing people, publicity people that are trying to get in bookstores and get it in libraries. And then once we get in libraries, that's kind of that I don't want to say the last step, but we're getting closer to getting to the reader, right? So we've got our librarians making suggestions, our booksellers making suggestions, educators making suggestions to finally get the book in the hands of readers. So while my name gets to be on the cover, there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen.
That's pretty cool to think that it's not just, you don't do it all. So a lot of kids may think, well, I have to do it all, but a lot of adults know that there's more layers. But is there, when you started writing, after you talked about being home with your kids and you fell in love with this genre of reading, what was your first book that you were able to get published? What was the name of that one?
So my first book is called Dear Santasaurus, a picture book, and it's about a dinosaur who writes letters to Santasaurus explaining why he should be on the nice list. That came out in 2013, so I've been a published author over 10 years now. And that book is what they call out of print. So you might be able to find it at a library, but they're not manufacturing it anymore. But that was the first one, and that's kind of for my son who was a big dinosaur nut.
So when you look back for your 10 years, obviously you've grown in your craft, you've grown in what you've been able to do, you've produced these books. How many books now have your name on them?
I'm very lucky. I'm the author of 35 books for young people. So, and I've got one more this year and like 3 next year. That's something else that I think kind of interesting is the stuff I'm writing now, y'all aren't going to see for 2 or 3 years. It's a slow process to get a book out there. So
That's awesome. So talk to me about what is the favorite part about the writing the children's book. You talked about your background and how you're bringing math and science into literature, and that's exciting too because it's that fiction, but it's also technical, and kids are learning without really understanding that they're learning. But what's your favorite part about this whole process?
So my favorite part is using my imagination, creating something kind of out of nothing. Like these books didn't exist before I put pen to paper. I actually typed them before I typed them up, which is very cool, very kind of blows my mind a little bit. But also that's what drew me to engineering.
Yeah.
Is creativity and using imagination. If you're a creative person, there are so many things that you can do. People that make video games are creative. People that cook are creative. People that write. People that engineer. If you love using your imagination and coming up with solutions to problems, there's so many opportunities out there.
That's great advice. And so kiddos, definitely, if you're interested in being an author, there's a lot of opportunities to explore there. If you're interested in an illustrator, if you're looking to be the person who wants to make the business deals, all of those things can happen, and definitely we're helping you prepare that path for you looking forth into middle school, into high school. But parents also know too that this is something that, as she said, it was a second career for you. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't always have to be what you focus in high school. It could be what you fall into later in adulthood. So I appreciate you giving me some of your time and insight, and definitely, last question, if you had to pick one of your favorite books that you've written, which one would it be?
I get asked this question all the time, a favorite book, and I can't pick. I'm the mom of all 35 books. It's like picking a favorite kid or a favorite dog. I can't do it, but readers, you are absolutely welcome to pick a favorite, and you can let me know that too. I love to hear from readers.
And so she is visiting this week Union, Childers Love Memorial, I think Massey, Pumpkin Center, and
St. James.
St. James. Yeah. All right. So all of your parents, if you want to ask your kid, did they get to meet an author that you attended those schools? And kind of how this works. The other schools got an author visit earlier in the year from the Public Libraries Partnership, and so these schools are now having that opportunity to benefit from that partnership. And we do appreciate Dr. Sackett and her team at our Lincoln County Public Library for making this all possible. All right, so a couple more announcements this week that I want to bring to everybody's attention. Today is Special Olympics. That is at North Lincoln High School starting at 9:30. If you see this video afterwards, next week we'll celebrate that on social media. Just check out the photos on our Facebook and Twitter page for that. We do appreciate all the people that go behind the scenes to make Special Olympics possible and successful for all of those young athletes. We've also had Leader in Me training this week at several of our schools, investing in those schools in preparation for next year. Look forward to those, the fruits of that labor paying off. Wednesday this week was our Administrative Assistant Appreciation Day. Used to be called Secretary's Day. Used to be called a lot of things, but definitely those people that are behind the scenes helping all of us make sure we can be on time in places and things turn in correctly, and that customer service and that face of the school that many of our parents and kids experience. We appreciate all of you that make all that happen, and definitely want to give a shout out to those folks. Looking ahead, West Lincoln Middle School has their final 5K coming up on May the 4th. It is a Star Wars themed opportunity to have a 5K. That'll be interesting nonetheless, but I bring that to your attention because there'll be people running on Shoal Road and West Lincoln High School campus dressed up as Star Wars. Do not worry about that. That is normal. Conference tournament for baseball, softball, and track and soccer all are taking place at our high schools. Middle school sports are also wrapping up next week. Lincoln County Schools Opportunity Fair for you seniors that do not have any idea what you still want to do when you graduate in a few weeks. There's an opportunity fair on May the 1st at our office for those seniors. It's kind of a last chance opportunity to get connected to recruitment, to college, and to enrollment and enlistment. So opportunities there exist. If you missed that, check in with your CDC at the high school for more information. Our Quiz Bowl is coming up also for our high school teams to compete on May the 2nd at our office. And then prom is coming up for Lincoln High School also on May the 4th. So we've got a lot of sharp dressed people driving around town. So definitely congratulate them on their prom experience. That's all the announcements this week. Stacy, thank you for being my guest. Lincoln County Public Library, thank you for arranging this opportunity for our kids at Lincoln County Schools Partnerships. goes beyond measure without saying. Parents, thank you for helping us also to teach your children what it means to be safe and kind to others in their actions and their words. Y'all have a fantastic weekend.